Hi, this is David with entry number 684, 85. I said I'd record today, so I am. It's currently winter, real winter now. The high for today, I think, is 36 degrees Fahrenheit, or maybe 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It isn't so bad, I guess. It's definitely cold, and the hand that's holding the camera at the moment is very cold. It feels kind of like not ice, but definitely like if I did it for a long time, it would be bad. I wanted to talk about. I know I said something yesterday, but like always, I'm gonna renege on that and talk about something else. I started Serial season 2, and what I find fairly fascinating about this show, this podcast called Serial, is that it doesn't really subvert expectations, but rather it casts light on victims, or on, I should say victims, on people who you probably would not think about if they didn't do it. And they're purposefully doing this, I know, to kind of like be a little bit subversive, but the focus of this season is on a man called Bo Bergdahl, and he's, I think, about maybe only a little bit older than me, maybe my age, maybe younger than me, and he was a man who was held by the Taliban in Afghanistan for almost 5 years, and so he was a POW, a prisoner of war, and he was what's controversial about his story is that he abandoned his post, and he essentially kind of like forfeited his I don't want to say life, but I guess his life in a way, because I think if you run away while you're in active duty, I do believe that they can shoot you. I think for desertion, but he ran away, and then in the process of finding him, a few of his fellow soldiers were lost. Not lost, but killed by the Taliban. And and then in the negotiation to get him returned to the U.S., we had to give five prisoners from the infamous Guantanamo Bay prison in Cuba. And so it's a very, very fascinating case of guilt and all this stuff. I've only heard the first episode, but it seems like he did this at desertion because there were kind of like bad things happening at the base he was at in Afghanistan, which sounded like a terrible place. They said that there was they didn't have trash collection, so they just burned everything, and they even burned their waste in a big fire pit, which sounds absolutely horrifying. I mean, human waste. And so did not sound like a very happy area. But he said that the big problem is that they were putting his fellow officers at risk for being killed. And so it's a very interesting case, and I'm very eager to learn more. I am going to listen to every episode 2 times before I listen to the next one, because I want to really absorb it, and then maybe I'll listen to them in sequence again. I'll listen to 1, 2, and then 1, 1, 1. Like in order in watching, I'll watch I'll listen to one, and then one again, and then two, and then two again, and then one, and then two, so that you kind of like get it all in as it comes. But it's a very fascinating podcast that I would highly recommend people watch. It actually last year was a really good one about a Korean, first generation Korean girl in America who was murdered by a young man in high school while they were in high school, and it's a very fascinating podcast. The production value is extremely high, and it's just fun to listen to, because you really, in America, even though we are told kind of over and over again that you're innocent until proven guilty, sorry about that, it more often than not, in the kind of cultural zeitgeist of the US, if you get accused and arrested, you're basically guilty before your trial. So you have a lot of cases like that, and then like the media totally twists your story and narrative around until it seems like you're really guilty. Now, of course, there's a lot of times where the people are probably guilty, more often than not, but it is kind of a sick thing how like when it's other people, or when the crime is especially heinous, we go like, oh yeah, he's totally guilty, regardless of whether or not he's had trial and all the evidence has been seen by the court or whatever. So anyway, that's all I kind of wanted to say today. It's very cold and starting to drizzle, and that's not good. So I'll talk with you soon. Bye.